Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Welcome into Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton. Glad to have you with us here on a Top 5 Tuesday, January 17th edition. Man, what a beautiful day it is outside, and I'm wearing shorts. Like, who thought that was okay in January? Well, it's Tennessee, Mo.
If you don't like the weather, what? Hang on about 10 minutes and it'll change for you?
Just wait about 10 minutes. We'll get you something new.
All right.
You never know what you're going to get, and it's going to be a good day. We've got a lot to get to. Got a great show lined up for you. Michael Wallace is going to join us from Grind City Media. He'll talk about the surging Memphis Grizzlies as they are on a 10-game win streak. We've also got Chip Walters, who joins us on his every Tuesday spot at 3 o'clock today.
Every Tuesday except last Tuesday?
Yeah,
right.
Well, whatever. It's Tuesday whenever he's on.
Sure.
Basically.
There we go.
And we've got our Top 5 Tuesday coming up later. Top 5 athletes we wish we could have seen injury-free. So obviously there's going to be a couple names that come to mind off the top, but be interested to see what 15 names we get in this one. So should be fun. All that coming your way and much, much more. Got a lot to get to. So let's dive right in, and we'll get you yesterday's results, and we can get you today's schedule. And we'll do that on the rundown.
This is the Rundown.
Girls basketball action from Monday night. Clarksville Christian defeated Highland Rim Academy 53-15. It was Spring Hill with a 58-40 win over Lewis County. Watertown defeated White House 35-24. Boys basketball action. It was White House 61, Watertown 47. Westmoreland with a 43-36 win over Red Boiling Springs, and Whites Creek defeated Springfield 54-42. In women's basketball action, Arkansas had the ball last, and that was the difference in their 84-81 win over Vanderbilt. Middle Tennessee State continues to stay hot with a 76-54 win at UAB. On the men's side, MTSU and UAB, of course, went overtime because that's what they do. The Blue Raiders eking out a 74-73 win at the Glass House over the Blazers. In the NBA, as Chris mentioned, Memphis Grizzlies with their 10th straight win defeating Phoenix 136-106. And on the ice, it was the Preds 2, the Flames 1, and no one got hurt.
Thank goodness.
So there we go.
That's very important, very important. Basketball action tonight, double headers. We start at 6 o'clock. Girls and boys to follow. Stewart's Creek will be at Antioch. Grace Franklin is at Battleground Academy. Siegel is at Blackman, and Franklin is at Brentwood. Nolensville goes to Centennial, and Cheatham County is at home against Harpeth. Bowling Green, Kentucky will be at Clarksville Christian and Clarksville Northeast hosting Springfield. In Columbia, it's Columbia Central hosting Summit, and Middle Tennessee Christian coming to the Academy here in Columbia to take on the Bulldogs. Liberty Creek is at Creekwood. Culleoka at home against Collinwood. Mount Juliet Christian is at Davidson Academy. Whites Creek is going to East Nashville, and Clarksville Academy is at Ezo Harding.
Also, White House Heritage is at Fairview. Providence Christian is at Franklin Road Academy. Beach is at Gallatin. Donaldson Christian goes to Good Pasture. Greenbrier hosts White House. Hampshire takes on visiting Richland. Glencliff goes to Hillwood. Hendersonville is at Hunters Lane. STEM Academy is at Joe Burns. Hillsborough goes to Overton. East Robertson is at Knowledge Academies. Lebanon hosts Green Hill. Lipscomb Academy hosts Ensworth. Giles County goes to Loretto. Stratford is at Maplewood. Hume Fogg is at Martin Luther King. Montgomery Central takes on visiting Portland. Eagleville travels to Moore County. And Cookville is at Mount Juliet.
Valor Collegiate goes to Murfreesboro Central. Friendship Christian is at Nashville Christian. Oakland hosting Riverdale, and Page at home against Lincoln County. Republic goes to Pearl Cone, and CPA is at Pope Prep. Independence at Ravenwood. Riverside Christian takes on visiting Zion Christian. Clarksville's at Rossview, and Santa Fe's at home against Wayne County. Marshall County goes to Spring Hill. Father Ryan's at St. Cecilia. That's a girls-only matchup. McGavick and Station Camp at 6 o'clock. Mount Pleasant at Summertown. Merrill Hyde at Trousdale County. Tullahoma hosting Lawrence County. Webb School is at home against UNL Local School of Nashville. And Dixon County goes to West Creek. Again, girls only action at 5:30. Brentwood Academy is at Harpeth Hall. And Father Ryan at St. Cecilia. Brentwood Academy's boys will be at Montgomery Bell Academy. That's a 7:30 tip as well. That's definitely not accurate. Okay. Men's basketball action tonight. Tennessee is at Mississippi State. That's an ESPN2 tip at 6 p.m. at 7:30. Alabama is at Memorial. Take on Vanderbilt. Murray State is at the Curb. Taking on Walmart at the 8 o'clock tip on CBS Sports Network. Doubleheaders tonight in junior college action. Columbia State goes to Dyersburg State. Women at 5:30. Men to follow. And finally, the Blue Jackets are at the Preds at the 7 o'clock puck drop on Valley Sports as well. That is your. All right. Top story today. We've got 3 top stories, Mo, but they all fall under one little heading.
Yeah. Former Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz taking on that role in Cleveland. So is he the defensive coordinator? I know they call him a senior defensive assistant, but technically Mike Vrabel is probably calling. No. Schwartz was there.
Oh, before?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, most recently then.
Oh, yeah. I don't know where he wasn't there this year, was he? Okay.
Yeah. They hired him up from the Titans. He's a senior defensive assistant this past year for the Titans.
Well, this was his second stint with the Titans.
Whatever that means.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see.
I don't know what it is exactly you do here, Jim. You're going to go to Cleveland now.
Well, he was defensive coordinator for the Titans from 2001 to 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back
Back when I didn't know who the Titans were.
Yeah. He left here to become head coach of the Lions.
Right.
Was there 5 years.
I remember he was with the Lions.
Okay. Then he was Bills DC, and he was in Philadelphia from 2016 to 2020, including their Super Bowl championship campaign in 2018. So yeah.
Schwartz headed to the Browns as defensive coordinator. We wondered if the Chargers were going to make a change in leadership at the coaching level. They decided, I guess, to stick with their head coach, but have fired 2 assistant coaches, their offensive coordinator and A random special teams guy?
No, it was their offensive coordinator and their passing game coordinator / quarterbacks coach, I thought.
I thought I saw that a random special teams guy got fired too. Now, I don't know if that has anything to do with this story, but you never know. I mean, Shane Day and Joe Lombardi both out though. And yes, Shane Day was their quarterbacks coach. I'm curious if
Shane Day was the quarterbacks coach and Joe Lombardi was the OC.
Correct.
So
both of those guys are.
So they pretty much pinned it on the offense, I guess.
Yeah, no, never mind
the defense that gave up all those
31
points
in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. They scored 3 points in the second half, but
I mean, they were up 27-0 before Jacksonville again scored there at the end of the half and then scored 24 in the second half. So they weren't scoring that on air.
Now, this will be Justin Herbert's third offensive coordinator since he began in the NFL. CBS says that Frank Reich and Cliff Kingsbury could be possible options to replace Lombardi.
Cliff Kingsbury is going to coach him from Thailand?
Yeah, I don't think Cliff Kingsbury will be in the NFL.
I don't think so either. And I don't think he wants to.
Why would you? I got my money.
Right. I don't need the headache.
I don't need this.
He's a young cat.
Have you seen the woman that's over there with him? Goodness gracious. He's fine.
No, but I've seen his house.
Why would you go somewhere else that you can't get that house? So. I mean, his draft set up in the 2020 draft was insane.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know what? I'll just live here and enjoy my life. You know what? I hear the Arizona Rattlers might need some help. I might drive up every now and then and say what's up to Kevin Guy and
or not
drive home. And if I get the itch, I'll just go up there and help him out for a little while, come back whenever I feel like it.
Or I'll just stay home.
I mean, coaches are he's going to get the itch at some point.
Sure.
But it ain't going to be this year.
And I don't know why he would.
So I certainly wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe I just have I have a different mindset than these people.
Well, and I guess if we were in that business, maybe we would have different mindsets than we have.
Potentially. That's what, I saw on Twitter, someone asked if you won $1 billion, would you continue to work? And I said, yes, but it would be a vastly different kind of work. Because
I've always said yes, but they would know I didn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not going to sit at the house and just, eat Fritos and watch television all day. I'm just not going to do that. But, and he's not either. He's going to do something, but it will be a vastly different type of work because he's got plenty of money. He doesn't need any more of that. Mm-hmm. I don't, at this point, you just kind of, you kind of take your time, figure out what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and he's not in a position where he has to take a job because he has to take a job.
I don't know why you would.
Right.
So anyway, finally, there is another coaching move that happened today that we'll get to later in the show. But in this particular instance, the top story, Sean Payton is set to interview with Denver, or at least talk to Denver. Payton has also apparently come out with what it would take in a trade package to get the rights for him to coach, because the Saints still own his rights. And the last coach that got traded was Herm Edwards. Yeah. To the
Jets.
From the Jets to the Chiefs.
Okay.
Maybe. So that's been a minute. We've not seen this in a while. So, but apparently it's going to take a mid to late first round draft pick.
Okay.
To acquire his contractual rights. So, I mean, would you trade Sean Payton, or force Peyton if you've got a Russell Wilson at quarterback, a guy who's built kind of like Drew Brees.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the right situation. I think Denver would be that type situation, someplace where you've already got the quarterback.
You've already got the quarterback. Again, you've won with a quarterback of similar stature.
Mm-hmm.
He's won before.
Sure.
It's possible. I think Denver would be a perfect landing spot for Sean Payton. And I think it's the only one that makes sense of the current openings.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Arizona, but I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Anyway. So, yeah, Sean Payton set to speak with the Broncos about their open head coach position.
Should be interesting.
Those are your top stories. We'll take a break. Michael Wallace of Grind City Media will join us here in just a few moments, so please stick around. We will be right back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that can happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone.
Walmart Supply Chain is hiring in Lebanon. Earn up to $22.25 an hour when you join our new fulfillment center. Enjoy competitive pay and premium perks, including 100% paid college tuition, 401k match, flexible schedules, a free Walmart Plus membership that includes discounts, and free Paramount Plus, paid time off, and so much more. Fulfilling work starts right here. Text JOIN to 240-240. That's JOIN 240-240 to apply now.
This is attorney Bart Durham, and this is me. I'm Aaliyah. Keeping in good physical condition is really important to me. But when I had a wreck with a tractor-trailer truck that hurt my legs so bad I couldn't work for almost a year, I knew I needed a lawyer that understood tractor-trailer cases. So I called Bart. Bart gets millions of dollars for his clients every year.
At Bart Durham Injury Law, we've handled hundreds of tractor-trailer cases.
My dad and I want to help. Give us a call at 615-242-9000.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton, and we are about to talk a little Memphis Grizzlies with Grind City Media's Michael Wallace, senior editor there. We'll get to him in just a moment. The Grizzlies on a 10-game winning streak. Last time we talked about the Grizzlies was when Brooklyn was on that long winning streak, and we thought, what does this mean for the Eastern Conference? Well, the Nets are still in second place and are like 3 full games behind. But the Grizzlies also in second place in the West, mainly because the Nuggets are 8-2 over their last 10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
a good number of the Grizzlies' wins over this streak are against the East as well. So
yes,
they've not been able to take much advantage to climb up because they're not knocking off anybody
in the conference
on their side of the country.
The
basketball
Nuggets have played 31 conference games to the Grizzlies 25. So, I mean, obviously it'll even out in the end,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, the Grizzlies have certainly been, they've found a way though to prove they belong at the top of the NBA. You're talking about, I mean, the teams that they've beaten: Kings, Jazz, obviously last night the Suns, and they took the Suns to the woodshed. This is not a team that's just out here beating up on nobodies. This is, these are playoff caliber teams that they're playing against and beating on a nightly basis. Obviously the Suns have fallen off a little bit, but I mean that's still a team that's been in the finals within the last couple of years. So, a great franchise. What I'm concerned about, and we'll talk to Michael about here in just a moment. It just seems like, for whatever reason, I guess it's because they're a small market team, they just don't get any love nationally, man.
Yeah, and in part, I think that's, again, you look at this 10-win streak that they're on. San Antonio, they beat back-to-back, and Phoenix just now. But besides that, they've not beaten teams that are, excuse me, really in the NBA mainstream, I don't guess. So I don't know if that's why they're not getting the love or what. But they've won these 10 games by an average of 13.7, almost 14 points. 6 of them have been by 10 points or more. So, they've been pretty dominant for the most part during this stretch.
Absolutely, and they are completely dominant now. Why the national media won't give them the love they deserve, I don't know. Maybe Michael Wallace can tell us. He's a member of the Grizzlies Live pregame show and a senior editor for Grind City Media. Michael Wallace, welcome in. Thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, thank you guys. Can you hear me okay? Everything sounds
We
good?
can, man. Yeah, you sound great, man. Appreciate you taking some time with us here, coming off of that 136-106 win yesterday evening over Phoenix in a Martin Luther King Jr. Day victory there. Mike, Chris was just saying, where's the love for the Grizzlies on a national level?
I think there's gaining love. It's growing. This is a team that's still young. The Grizzlies haven't done it year after year with this group. It's still on the come. And I think this team is one that still has to prove a lot. A lot of teams in this league are capable of making it to the second round of the playoffs and losing the series. The Grizzlies lost to the eventual NBA champion Golden State Warriors. They have one of the most transcendent stars that we have in this league, a superstar in Ja Morant. And, again, it's you get the true love from your peers. You get the true love from accomplishing something once you get to the postseason. And this team, despite all of the highlights and everything that we see on a nightly basis and all the things that we're enjoying, the arena is packed. When you go on the road, the Grizzlies, a quarter of everyone's stadium is filled with Grizzlies fans. Ja Morant jerseys are all over the place. So the national love is coming. It's definitely there. But how do you, sort of stamp that? You stamp that by winning in the playoffs, winning on the marquee stages of these national games, and winning on the road. And I think the Grizzlies are right there. Best record in the West, second best record tied overall in the league. And you know, they have a lot going for them right now, but they still have another 2, 3, 4 layers to get to before they really stamp what they're doing.
Now, Michael, that being said, this team has the ability to, in fact, do just that. They have the ability to get to the playoffs and make something happen.
Yes, they do. They do. They certainly do. When you talk about, you know, the dynamic of this team, Yow Morant is the most unselfish superstar that you're going to see in terms of the way he plays. Jaren Jackson Jr. is doing it by being dominant on the defensive end of the basketball. You know, by my book, front runner for Defensive Player of the Year at this stage of the season. And then between Yow Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr., you have one of the deepest, most productive supporting cast that you see in the league. There's a reason why the Grizzlies are top 5 in the NBA in offensive efficiency and defensive rating. There's a reason why they're number 2 overall in total overall plus minus, only trailing the Boston Celtics. There's a reason why when you look up, Taylor Jenkins is a candidate for Coach of the Year. Jaren Jackson is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. Yow Morant is a candidate for MVP. Tyus Jones is a candidate for Sixth Man of the Year. And it just goes on and on and on and on with what you're seeing from this team. So it's one of those situations that the Grizzlies are in the right spot right now, and they still feel like they still have another level to get to. So this is a team that can make noise in the playoffs. They took Golden State to 6 games and had to finish that series last year without Steven Adams starting it and without Yow Morant finishing it. So it's one of those situations where this team can just stay healthy and continue to get on this road. The next step is the Western Conference Finals, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Speaking with Michael Wallace of Grind City Media, covers the Memphis Grizzlies. And Michael, is Steve Adams, and I kind of hesitate to call him the secret sauce because he's not a secret, but is he kind of the X factor for this team?
He's one of many X factors, Mo, and you know, you and I go way back, man, and we've seen all kind of basketball, all kind of football for the better part of 20 years now. And you know, when you see a team that fits together the way that guys fit, Steven Adams, you know, you're seeing a different version of Steven, a little bit more expansive version of Steven Adams than you even saw when he was with New Orleans, and then before that, Oklahoma City. You know, he had to really submerge parts of his game when he was with OKC because you know, he had to give up hundreds of rebounds to Russell Westbrook because Westbrook was a guy that was, you know, I mean, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, but frankly, chasing triple doubles. So rebounds that Steven Adams could have got then, he was given to Russell Westbrook. You know, in offensive rebounds and the spacing that he's benefiting from in Memphis, he didn't have that spacing in Oklahoma City because Kevin Durant, a lethal superstar, had to play a certain way and had to get a certain amount of touches. So we're seeing Steven become a better passer, become a better offensive rebounder, and become a better defender overall because of the opportunities that he has in Memphis. So he definitely is one of the secret weapons that this team has. You know, he's the toughness. He's the heart and soul. You know, there's not a tougher big guy in the league as far as I'm concerned with the way he plays.
Now,
go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Next up, tomorrow night, Cleveland comes to town, and there will probably be a pretty good exodus of folks from the Middle Tennessee area heading that way to see former Brentwood Academy standout Darius Garland for the Cavaliers. But those are a couple of teams, Cleveland and Memphis, that really, to some degree, they're kind of mirror images of each other with the youth and with the fantastic backcourts as well.
Great assertion right there. I mean, great. You know, that's a great analysis because, you know, when you look at it, it goes even further than that. Obviously, the marquee attractions are going to be, you know, Darius Garland, who spent some time at Vanderbilt, but is in that area, and now he's a, you know, budding superstar in the league. We saw him put up 50, 60 points. He can definitely give you all kinds of buckets. Now, depending on whether Donovan Mitchell plays or not, he left last night's game with a groin injury. But, you know, again, you look at the point guard matchup, Yow Morant and Garland. I mean, that's your money's worth right there. Then you peel back a few layers, how these teams are built interior with, you know, Kevin Love, Jared Allen, you know, those guys in the front and in the middle. And you just look at so many different layers of bigs and the way that they can play versatile with who they have there. And the big guy from USC is escaping my mind right now. His name, I should know it because he's a tremendous player for them as well. But you look at those three guys up front, and then you look at what the Grizzlies have up front in terms of Jaren Jackson Jr., Steven Adams, and the way Brandon Clark is playing as well too. So, and then you go to the coaching staff, and you look at Taylor Jenkins going up against the guy who preceded him in that same job, and JB Bickerstaff being here in Memphis as well. So, the Cleveland Cavaliers are essentially doing in the East what the Grizzlies are doing in the West in a lot of different ways, with a lot of dynamic plays, shot blocking at the rim, and a lot of different ways that they're playing the game. So it's going to be I hope a lot of people from Central Tennessee can come this way and catch this great game, and then understand that, hey, whoever your main team is, it's okay to have your Grizzlies as the second favorite team that you have, because there's going to be a lot of fun basketball to watch in the building.
This is a big game Thursday for Memphis from the standpoint that the schedule kind of turns after that. 5 straight road games after that.
5 straight road games, starting off with the marquee nationally televised games against the Los Angeles Lakers. Then you get these same Phoenix Suns that you saw on MLK Day yesterday, back to back. Right after that, you're looking at, the Sacramento Kings, which again, with Coach Brown, Mike Brown is doing in Sacramento. You could throw his name in the hat for the Coach of the Year as well, because they're the most improved team in the league. So that's the first 3 games: Lakers, Suns, Kings on the back-to-back. Then you got Golden State, which is a demon for the Grizzlies. I mean, this is the big brother you got to eventually get past in order to get to that championship, at least going through the West. And then you wrap this trip up 5 games, 9 days later against the Minnesota Timberwolves, a team that you saw in the playoffs last year, who want to get you back now. They're sort of looking up at you. So this is going to be a 5-game trip that's going to really, really define the momentum that the Grizzlies take sort of into February and going towards that All-Star break.
Now, obviously, this team has dealt with a lot of injuries from the start of the season. Ja's still got some hip soreness, and it just feels like, this team has struggled to stay completely healthy. Is that a concern, or, is this team built to withstand a few injuries here and there?
It's obviously it's been built to withstand a few injuries, because that's the way that this team has played for some time now. You look at last year, and Evan Mobley is the Cavaliers' big guy, lottery pick from a couple years back that I didn't mention before when I talked about Kevin Love and Jared Allen. So when you talk about Mobley, Jared Allen, and Kevin Love, you got 3 dynamic bigs who can give you some problems for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But to go back to your question, this is one of those teams that, in terms of how the Grizzlies play, this is one of those teams that, they have to take advantage of everything that they have roster-wise. Taylor Jenkins has empowered backups to feel like they can be starters, because guess what? Ja Morant missed 25 games last year. Tyus Jones had to play like a starter, and he's getting paid like a starter now because of that. And this team is more than capable of going 12 deep. Santi Aldama started the first 20 games of the season, 15 games of the season before Jaren Jackson Jr. came back, so he knows what it's like to be a starter. John Conchar has filled in for some starting moments as well. The Grizzlies have had 13 or 14 different starting lineups already this season through the first 41 games that they played. So, they are accustomed of shuffling when they need to shuffle because of injuries. And now that everybody's getting back healthy, you're seeing the second unit perform so well together because they finally wanted to get their cohesiveness, just like the starters did. So, again, it took a long time before the Grizzlies got their preferred starting 5 together. When you talk about Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Steven Adams, and Dylan Brooks. So once you got that 5 set finally coming out of Christmas, now you can get the second unit where you want it to be, and that's going to be shaped around, obviously, Tyus Jones, Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Zaire Williams, John Conchar. That's your second unit right there. And, oh, by the way, I haven't even mentioned the rookies, David Roddy and Jake LaRavia. Those guys are right there on the cusp of coming into some rotation minutes as well. So you're legitimately 12 deep if you're the Memphis Grizzlies.
I'm glad you mentioned Big Body David Roddy, because that's one of Chris's favorite nicknames, one of his favorite guys. But also, Michael, when you mentioned that 12, conspicuous in his absence is rookie guard Kennedy Chandler out of UT and out of Memphis. There was some talk, there has been some talk that maybe he should have come back for a sophomore season. I don't know that that's necessarily the case, but what do the Grizzlies, what does Taylor Jenkins like about Kennedy Chandler in his rookie year?
The fact that Kennedy understands, where he is, yes, there's a lot to be said about, obviously he's a Memphis guy, born and raised around in the Memphis area, grew up watching the Grizzlies and Mike Conley when Conley was here. Then he went to University of Tennessee, bypassed the Tigers here in Memphis and went to Tennessee and played. Had a fantastic freshman year, SEC Freshman of the Year. And he entered his name into the draft. And he got picked by his hometown team. And now he's saying, okay, now that I'm here, I have to play behind not only Ja Morant, who's a top 5 point guard in the league, I have to play behind Tyus Jones, who could probably start on half of the teams in the league and is the best backup in terms of production at that position in the league. So what kind of lessons does he have a chance to learn behind those two? If I'm Kennedy Chandler, I could be in no better position than what I am right now. Because if the two guys that I'm learning from are Ja Morant and Tyus Jones, and I get to do it in my hometown, and I also get to develop with the developmental league team that's right down the road from where I stay, and I still get moments here and there to get some spot duty because Ja's going to miss some time. And when Ja's out, then he becomes the backup because Tyus moves into the starting lineup. Now, he didn't come into the league and take over by storm as a starter in this league. That's not going to happen. He's still going to probably have to wait another year or two before he gets that kind of primary rotation opportunities. But having said all of that, this is a young player who's dynamic. He's athletic. He's as smart and cerebral as Tyus Jones is in terms of he never gets rattled. His nerves are always settled. But he's as explosive as Ja Morant is in terms of being able to athletically get to the basket and turn on the afterburners and do certain things from that standpoint. So the Grizzlies know exactly what they have in Kennedy Chandler. And it's just a matter of time before he's seasoned right now to develop. He's going to be a great player in this league for a long time to come, but it's going to have to take some time before he gets those opportunities on a nightly basis.
So really coming out wasn't the problem. Getting drafted by Memphis was the issue.
Well, but getting drafted by Memphis was the issue, but also, again, as Michael was saying, what better place is there for him to be?
Nowhere.
So
we've seen it in every sport, getting a chance to learn from, some of the best players ahead of you.
And do it in your hometown.
And taking some time to develop your skill set versus being thrown into and being the guy from day one.
When you're not ready.
You don't want that. It never works out for anybody.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, Ja Morant has certainly had that ability, and he's been able to do that from day one, and we are so glad that we get to watch him here in the state of Tennessee. Dude is on another level now. Obviously, some of us got to watch him a bunch in college, unfortunately. Got to watch him way more than I wanted to. But, Michael, we've asked this question before the season. We've asked it last year. Taylor Jenkins, can he take this team to the conference or NBA finals and get it done? I mean, is he the coach that can do it?
I don't think there's any question that Taylor Jenkins can do it. I had my questions about Taylor coming in too, because he was relatively unknown, at least from the national media landscape when he was hired. He wasn't even a lead assistant technically in Milwaukee when the Grizzlies plucked him off of Mike Budenholzer's bench. Darvin Ham was one of the lead assistants in that situation. And Darvin has obviously gone on to the Lakers now where he's a head coach. There are a couple other coaches that were technically ahead of Taylor in line. But what Taylor has done is proven that he is ready. Like he's one of the smartest basketball minds that I've ever had a chance to be around. And I'm limited in scope when it comes to that kind of basketball knowledge, obviously, as a member of the media for a long time. But I've been around the Pat Rileys, the Doc Rivers, the Phil Jacksons. I've been around some of the greatest minds, Don Nelson, those guys in the game when it comes to how they call plays, how they organize their staffs, and how they manage star players. The one thing I haven't seen Taylor do yet is manage a superstar player that he inherited. The Grizzlies haven't built their roster that way. So he hasn't had a guy come in where he has to manage a Kevin Durant and figure out how to get along with Kevin Durant and put Kevin Durant in the right places. He was able to help build this roster from the ground up alongside Zach Kleiman, who's now president of basketball operations. Those guys came in, took it over together, and have built this roster that way. But Taylor Jenkins, in terms of how he organizes his staff, how he delegates responsibilities and makes all of his assistants feel like they have an essential role, and how he communicates that message to his players. It's about, listen, come in, let me hear how you feel about being here, and now let me explain to you how I can get the best version of you to be the best version for us. And that's the message that he gives every single one of his players when they come in and meet with him. He wants to hear your side and your perspective, and then he wants to co-opt that with the greater team perspective in terms of how these players fit in. And it's a textbook example of how to build successful businesses. It's not just about basketball, but how do you build successful relationships in your personal life, how you build successful partnerships professionally. And now we're just seeing it play out in the basketball realm, and the Grizzlies are built and came together perfectly when it comes to that. So yes, Taylor Jenkins put in the fire. He's been there with Mike Budenholzer in Atlanta. He's been there with Popovich in San Antonio. It's just his turn now, and I truly think he's getting ready to make that next step with the Grizzlies.
Michael Wallace, senior editor and contributor for Grind City Media, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mike, you mentioned Kevin Durant in that last little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was some talk over the offseason, I guess, that maybe the Grizzlies needed a proven veteran presence to kind of help them get over that hump. And I think KD's name was kind of tossed around as potentially one of those veteran presences.
Mm-hmm.
Was that ever a serious name in Memphis? Was there ever a serious thought in the front office there that was the direction they needed to go in?
You know, I'll answer that by saying this, Mo. You obviously know, being in this industry, you guys know, understanding that, I have a lot of good access with this team now that I'm internal media, so to speak, with Grind City Media, but I'm not invited into the highest levels of those executive meetings. There's another suite level that I don't have access to. My badge doesn't get me into. So I wasn't at the table when they actually had those phone calls. But as the Grizzlies tend to operate, I can tell you how they tend to operate. Zach Kleiman would have been on the phone with Brooklyn to see, okay, what is it going to take? Especially if Kevin Durant, who was publicly requesting a trade, and Brooklyn publicly acquiesced and said that, yes, we would try to figure out something. So the Grizzlies absolutely were a team that was in there to take the phone calls, to listen, to field, and see what it would take. But they also are operating from a standpoint of, okay, we don't have to swing for the fences here. If this doesn't work, we're not going to part with guys that we plan on building around for years to come. So if it's going to cost us a Desmond Bain or a Jaren Jackson Jr., certainly not a John Morant. So if we're not going to, if any of that foundation is at stake here, then hey, let's move on. Let's figure out how we can do it internally. And what you've seen since then, now granted, the NBA trade deadline is coming up in a couple of weeks, so we'll see what that means at that stage. But for right now, they saw John Morant grow up as a leader on this team, even though he's 4 years in, 3-4 years in. He's taken on a leadership role. Steven Adams is a veteran presence. Tyus Jones is a veteran presence on this team right now. So you're seeing those two guys become the vets that people keep saying the Grizzlies need to go out and get. I don't see much that this team needs right now, other than the opportunity to get back to the playoffs healthy, and let's see where they can go. They're at the top of the West right now, tied with Denver, and it's just a matter of time before they get the opportunity to gain that experience. And I think right now this team is hungry for that.
There you go. Michael Wallace, Grind City Media and member of Grizzlies Live pregame. You can catch him on Valley Sports South or Southeast or whatever channel it's on that night. You just never know.
Yeah, just scroll around till you find it.
Figure it out. That's right. But we appreciate you taking some time with us today, man. Very informative.
Hey, thank you guys. And anytime, man, let's do this again. And Mo, take care, man. Happy New Year. It was good catching up with you guys in the press box the other night with the Titans. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon for a couple more of those opportunities as well.
Sounds good, Michael. We appreciate it, man. We'll catch up.
We're going to take a break. And speaking of the NFL, we'll talk about the most recent coach firing and what it might mean for those Titans. Stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joints. Back after this.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat.
She's on Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions, and Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. It is, in fact, Alyssa Lang.
I'm a little nervous. I'm going to lower the bar for guests now.
Oh, no.
Like, apologies in advance. It sounds like
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
You got that radio voice.
I do.
It's a good sound.
Thanks for radio, too.
As do we. And then here's the other thing. You guys, you're spot on with the name. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. So,
and we reach every main street in Middle Tennessee, Coach.
Yeah, that's it. So
Perfect.
when you're on Main Street and you are moving,
you gotta love it.
Like you're moving. I was impressed.
I'm glad someone.
Hey, welcome back in Main Street Sports. Today's presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
No doubt. Yeah, that one snuck up on me.
We've got a lot to get to in this segment here. We got just a few minutes before we visit with Chip Walters, who will come at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Talk a little in Middle Tennessee State. But first, the NFL. Byron Leftwich has been fired as offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Now, does that change your answer from yesterday, Mo, as to who you would prefer to have as offensive coordinator in Tennessee? Or is he even a good idea?
I think Byron Leftwich is a great idea for anybody that's looking for an offensive coordinator or for a head coach. I think he's going to be a head coach. I think, he's
Not
worked
this
with.
Go around.
No.
Very rare
But no, you don't go from being a fired offensive coordinator to being a head coach.
But I do think Tennessee would be a good spot for him. I think it gives him a little bit, because I think in Tampa Bay he was kind of, we've got to focus on Brady.
Sure. Once he came, I mean, that was their primary and secondary focus offensively was, Tom Brady. And, I think some of that was to Bruce Arians' demise, actually. I think that's why he left. He got tired. He didn't want to deal with Brady, I don't think.
Would you?
I really wouldn't. Not at this point, because I think everything that comes with having Tom Brady as your back. I think back to the replacements and the quarterback that was on strike. Yeah. I don't know that that's the way it looks in the locker room, and I don't know that we would ever know if that was the case, but there just seems to be a degree of overbearingness that comes with that. And maybe rightfully so. I don't know. But I think you got to be a special coaching staff, offensively in particular, to deal with that, to want to deal with that.
4,700 yards is what Tom Brady put up this year, which would have been among the top yard marks in the history of the Titans franchise. But that's never going to happen here because we have Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and
they've never had Derrick Henry.
No. I mean, they have Leonard Fournette, but even at that, they're not a run first. And you're not going to be a run first.
They're the worst
attack.
rushing offense in the league. Because
but
of Tom Brady.
But they threw for 4,700 yards.
Well, he also led the league in attempts. He was 6.4 yards per attempt, which is terrible, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's where you give him an opportunity to come into a place where he doesn't have to
cater
to the quarterback. And I think
I have to wonder how much of an offensive coordinator are you when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback? Yeah, I mean, to a degree, you kind of feel like Tom Brady is his own offensive coordinator.
One would think. I mean,
right, wrong, or otherwise.
Especially if you've got Leonard Fournette in the backfield, you use him. You would think.
You would think. So, I mean, it might be a situation where Leftwich is going, whew.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
maybe I can go coach.
Maybe I can go do what I do now. And look, I think he would be a more attainable option than Eric Bieniemy. I mean, if we're not on the phone, if Mike Vrabel hadn't given him a call yet,
it's because he doesn't have his number.
I mean, figure it out.
Yeah.
Because he's a guy that I would love to see. Now that's just Tom Brady. I don't need Tom Brady. If he's going to bring anyone with him, I wish it would be Shaquille Olajuwon Mason. Did you know that was his middle name? That's a great middle name, by the way. Clearly somebody was a basketball fan.
Clearly.
Shaq Mason, the offensive guard. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Is that our first ding?
Was that what that was?
I think so. That might have been a ding.
Okay.
Just
yeah, that was a ding. Yeah, that was the first ding of the day.
There you go.
If there's anything we need from the Buccaneers, it's an offensive lineman. An offensive guard would certainly be
some offensive lineman, ideally.
Well, they're not great either down there.
They're not great, but they were in the playoffs.
Certainly better than what the Titans had. I mean, if he's going to bring anybody with him, I wish it would be number 69. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if you saw my tweet last night, but during the game, Troy Aikman made a comment about somebody, Donovan Smith, having a rough season.
To Dennis Daly.
Dude, rough seasons? Yeah.
Did you know he was only tied for most sacks given up in the league with a lineman from the Bengals?
That doesn't surprise me.
I know, right?
Oh, goodness.
But yes. So, look, Byron Leftwich, I'm here for. That's all I'm saying. Other news and notes from around football. Jim Harbaugh told University of Michigan's president he will be staying. I guess the NCAA inquiries were less than,
anticipated.
Too bad.
Yeah.
So they weren't so bad that he needed to leave to go to the NFL. So he's saying that he will stay. Pete Golding officially off to Ole Miss. He tweeted a picture of a shark today. So guess he's gone. What should Bama do at defensive coordinator?
Well, whatever Nick wants to.
Well, I mean, under Kirby Smart, they were a 10th or worst defense in the country just one time. With Jeremy Pruitt, he was there for 2 years as defensive coordinator. They were number 1 and number 2 in the country. For Pete Golding, in 5 years, they were in the top 10 once and averaged 18th overall. So, if allowed to coach, is Jeremy Pruitt not the guy?
If allowed to coach, does he have a show cause?
I don't think so, because we've not heard what the Tennessee's punishments are yet, Mo. We're mid-January. Apparently they got this information, in December we've been told? We still don't know what the punishments for Tennessee are. Now, how wild is that?
Now, it was speculated back over the summer that he would get a show cause.
Well, he's already been out of the league out of the game for 2 years.
Yeah, you'd like to think it would be retroactive, huh? So,
I mean,
but I
I've
mean,
been gone. What you mean?
Yeah, he was with the Giants. Is he still?
No, he got fired along with Garrett and.
Oh, okay, so he was with Garrett.
and all those other folks.
Look,
if he's allowed to coach, he's got to be your guy. You just can't let him. Well, at this point, you could let him recruit, I guess. Because, I mean, it's not like he needs McDonald's bags anymore. Although we did find out they weren't McDonald's bags.
They were a different.
It was a different fast food. It was like Burger King or something.
It wasn't
even
McDonald's. No. What has to happen for those BK commercials to go away?
Amen to that, Justin. That's a good question. Anything to get them to go away, I'm all for it.
Why do they have to be so off key when they're singing that jingle? Like, why?
I guess that's supposed to be the draw of it.
Like it's endearing that way because it's not.
Yes, it's not. No, it's not.
Or it's supposed to help you remember it, and it does.
You remember it. So there is a story on AL.com actually by Mark Heim, Heim. Paul Feinbaum calls Jeremy Pruitt Alabama's comfort food when talking defensive coordinator spot. So,
well, I mean, isn't that what you would 100% expect?
You would. It's funny. This article, though, doesn't mention whether Pruitt is hireable.
Because we don't know.
I guess.
I would love to know what Tennessee's punishment was or is, or Jeremy Pruitt's punishment for that matter. Now, if they can't get Jeremy Pruitt,
then what?
Then what? Because it's not like you promoting from within of the 18th best defense is really your best option, right?
Mm-hmm. No.
Now, I have heard D'Amico Ryans.
Why would he come back from the NFL?
Well, some folks.
I mean,
think
D'Amico is on the cusp of getting an NFL head coaching job. I think probably not in this cycle.
Well,
but
that's what folks are saying, that he would be head coach in waiting.
Right.
I mean, that's the only way to get him here, right?
Alabama had a chance to hire an African-American alumnus as their head coach.
In what? When they hired Shula?
Mm-hmm.
I think they did Cream a favor. I really do.
How so?
Well, Alabama was in the middle of all of that turmoil with the NCAA. I think they did him a favor.
I don't think it was intentional.
No,
what is that?
no.
Unintended consequences? Yeah.
Unintended positives for Sylvester Croom. But yes, you're right. They did. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm hearing, that he would be the head coach in waiting. And I think that's the only way he comes back from the NFL.
I just don't think. Nah. There's no need for me to go there. Y'all know what I think.
I mean, outside of that, you're going to have to go get somebody, which, again, it's not like Alabama couldn't go to almost any team in the country and get a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to come be DC at Alabama? As a matter of fact.
Yes. Well, yes, I do.
To do that.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a possibility. But, man, it would certainly be here's AL.com's potential defensive coordinator candidates from Michael Casagrande. Glenn Schumann, who is the current co-DC at Georgia. Makes sense. Graduated from Alabama, started as an analyst at Alabama, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a terrible option.
Co-coordinator? Is that what you
He's
said?
Currently their co-defensive coordinator. Yes.
With who? Do we know?
Probably Kirby Smart. I don't know the answer to that. But if there are two people working as defensive coordinator, Kirby Smart's still the defensive coordinator. I don't love this.
If you've got two, you've got none.
There. I'm sorry. I do love this option as a Tennessee fan. Todd Grantham. So there's that. He's currently an analyst for the University of Alabama.
Glenn Schumann and Will Muschamp are
okay.
co-defensive coordinators at Georgia.
See, I could see Muschamp maybe coming over. I don't know.
As he continues his tour of the SEC.
Why not?
Yeah.
Jeff Collins.
A former Georgia Tech head coach. Okay.
Who was the defensive coordinator at FIU, Mississippi State, and Florida before being hired at Temple. Jim Leonard, former Wisconsin defensive coordinator who just left after being there through 3 different coaches. Let's see here. Freddie Roach. Interesting.
Alumnus, right?
Former player as a linebacker. Has never been a defensive coordinator or called plays on defense, but he has been the defensive line coach since 2020 after holding the same role at Ole Miss from 17 to 19. So there's your options. Of those options, they list Jeremy Pruitt at the bottom here too, but again, we don't know if he's allowed to go.
Yeah.
If he is, he's your first call, and he's probably going to come, and that's the end.
End of conversation. Yeah.
But if not him, Glenn Schumann, Todd Grantham, Jeff Collins, Jim Leonard. Jim Leonard would be a great pick.
I think so.
He'd be a great pick. Now, would he come? I think he would. An opportunity.
I don't know why he wouldn't.
Saban?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, you would. So, anyway. All right. We will take a break and await the arrival of one Chip Walters to talk a little MTSU after his late night. He may not be awake yet. I don't know. They were up all night last night against UAB. So stick around. Main Street Sports Station presented by Mid-Tennessee Bar and Joint. Back after this.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama. So the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Again, Chris Yow and Mo Patton. Live with you here from the dimple of the universe, Columbia, Tennessee. We're in Murray County, Southern Middle Tennessee. We are glad to be with you. We got a pretty solid day outside, Mo. It is blue skies, 65 degrees, short sleeve shorts weather. It doesn't get much better than that, does it?
On January 17th? No.
I don't think so.
Hey, I don't think I would be wearing shorts, but hey, that's...
Well, 65 is my cutoff. The high is 65, I'm good. Now, will I wear it to trivia tonight? Probably not. Probably throw some pants on. But you know. Big night last night for the Blue Raiders as the women go down to Birmingham and get a big win over UAB. And men, again, like you said, taking a little extra time, but getting the 74-73 win over UAB, who was without Jelly Walker, who's apparently still in a boot. So I don't know how long he's been out. But yeah, big win for Middle as they get back on track. And to talk a little Blue Raider athletics, we have with us the voice, Chip Walters. What's up, buddy?
Howdy, boys. How are y'all?
How are you, sir? As Chris mentioned, you were up a little late last night.
I was, but if you got to go that extra mile to get the win, that's fine. You'll play that extra 5 minutes, and the regulation did not end well, and the overtime period did not start well, but it was all's well does end well eventually. But because UAB scored the last 4 points of regulation and the first 5 points of overtime, it was a heck of a basketball game. I was counting up the last 2 meetings between Middle and UAB has produced 4 overtimes, 347 total points, and a total point differential of 5 over in that amount of time. So, they get after each other, and it's such a good, it's such a good rivalry, in all sports, and we've commented on here before. Hopefully, that once UAB moves to the American, it's one of those games. I'd like to see it in football and basketball that you could keep going for a while, because it's especially in basketball, because it's so convenient, and everybody's looking for convenient non-conference games that are going to sell tickets, and that I think that would in Birmingham as well as here. And
I've always liked AK. I mean,
I
from his time at Ole Miss, he just really seems like a good dude. Seems like somebody you'd like to sit down and have a cold lemonade with, maybe.
That's right. Well, I mean, you think back to when he was the interim at Cincinnati. For a while, and not everything went 100% for him there, but he was a sympathetic victim in that situation, and it all worked out, and lessons learned. He moved on and has had, he's such a good personality, and I know he and Coach McDevitt, and prior to that, he and Kermit have been big friends. So yeah, I'm a little selfish. David Crane, who does the UAB games on the radio, is one of my better friends in the league with that, and we talk all the time. He also happens to work in real estate in Birmingham, so we talk shop a lot, and I'll miss seeing him.
And anybody that had to coach Marshall Henderson deserves your respect.
Well, my favorite photo of Marshall Henderson is of him prone on the floor with Kerry Hammonds, the second, firing the shot out of the corner that sealed a victory against the Rebels.
Huh. Okay. That sounds like a heck of a photo. I might have to try to find that.
Yeah, find that one. It is pretty good, because Marshall's he's laying on the floor and looking up as Kerry is letting it go.
That's awesome. Walters, as he does most Tuesday Sports Today, presented by T-Bone and Joint. We mentioned UAB falls at the Glass House 74-73 in overtime last night. Meanwhile, in Birmingham last night, win number 12 in as many games for the Lady Raiders, a 76-54 win over UAB. Savannah Wheeler is back and announced her presence with authority. 19 points, 5 threes in that victory.
Yeah, she came back from her whatever had her out for a couple of games, and has picked up right where she left off. And also last night, Ksenia Maleshka, she has been on a tear lately. She was Conference USA Player of the Week a week or two ago, and just she's such a complete player, and she kind of. She's got the mid-range jump shot. She can drive the basketball. She is that 3-level scorer, but also has the physicality to get in and rebound, and she's a fun player to watch. And when she's really going, she can make a lot of things happen.
came off the bench last night for 26 points in 19 minutes. That's pretty good production.
Helps your bench scoring, doesn't it?
It does indeed. It does indeed. Maleshko with 26. Again, Wheeler with 19. Jalen Gregory with 10 points in that victory. Courtney Whitson, 5 points, 14 boards. Played all 40 minutes.
Yeah, not surprising on any of those numbers. If you'd flipped it around and said she had 14 points and 5 rebounds, it would have been the same. You're going to get a championship effort out of Courtney Whitson each and every night, and you're going to get 38 to 40 minutes, most of the time 40 from her every night, and she is she's the one that keeps the motor running all the time. Kingsport Dobbins Bennett product, and she is the backbone of that basketball team, and really keeps everybody. She's an extra coach on the floor, she's going to be a terrific coach in her own right one day. But I love watching her play because she is constant motion in moving around on the floor for 40 minutes. Great defender, gives up her body to take charges. Whatever you need, ask Courtney and she'll give it.
I misread this box score because there's a lot of stuff on it now that I'm not used to. 19 was Maleshka's plus minus. She played 22 minutes and 54 seconds, so almost 23 minutes. But when you score more points and you play minutes, it's at night.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking about on the box score, that's been interesting to see, the plus minus, kind of the hockey stat, and it kind of gives you a whole new perspective on okay, what kind of combinations do you want to put on the floor, that kind of thing. So it's that's a nice addition to the stats. It has gotten a little jumbled because you've got blocks for, blocks against, fouls for, fouls against, those kind of things. There's a lot of information on what used to be a fairly simple box score. It's gotten a lot more info on it now.
Yeah. So, and as you mentioned, the plus minus, there's a UAB player whose plus minus was minus 30.
Ooh,
I'm not going to name her, but yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's like you said, you're figuring out rotations and who should play and who shouldn't. Yeah,
exactly.
I guess
now, and for their efforts, the prize for the Lady Raiders after busing back last night was to get on an airplane today, head to Charlotte for a game on Thursday night, and so they're going to play there. The middle men will play at home. Then the Lady Raiders come back from Charlotte on either Thursday night or Friday morning, and we'll get ready to play Louisiana Tech at home, while the men will play Charlotte at home on Thursday and get on a very, and I mean very early flight on Friday morning to wind our way to Ruston by way of Dallas and Monroe. So, and then play an afternoon game in Ruston on Saturday.
Sorry, Chip, did you say you were going to LA via Omaha?
That's something like that. Something like that. I think the line is you can't get there from here.
It's making sure.
Yeah. But yeah, we're heading we're flying commercial down there, and the players, they couldn't get us all on one flight, or they could have, but everybody would have had to get up unbelievably early. So now the players, they were able to get all the players and coaches on a little bit later flight, but the support staff is going to be has a 5:15 a.m. flight Friday morning, which means leaving campus at 3 a.m. after a Thursday night game to go to BNA. So looking forward to that. And we did lose Mo and Chris there for a minute. See if they're back. Are you guys back?
we just turned the show over to Chip. I have no idea what he said the last
we
2
should do
minutes.
that.
Yeah, just
He killed it. He killed it.
I went total curse words during that amount of time.
You
so
went
just
rogue, huh?
Yeah, I went
See?
blue. I was working blue there. So,
Well,
hey, a couple of things I do want to make mention of while we have the time. There was supposed to be on Thursday the groundbreaking for the new Student Athlete Performance Center, but we received some sad news yesterday that Middle Tennessee trustee, Board of Trust member Joey Jacobs passed away. His funeral is going to be tomorrow at that time. So they've pushed back that groundbreaking by a week, and that'll happen next week. Also, you've got coming up on February 3rd, you've got the 50th Groundhog Day Luncheon. It'll be the first one for Coach Jerry Myers. And you've got signing day on February 1st for football, the late signing period, which may become the only signing period again, if you believe what you read. And there'll be a signing day celebration and little get together in the Hendricks Club on that day. It's by reservation, and that's where the coaches kind of go over the signees and chat with fans, things like that. But that'll be at 5:30 on February 1st. So you got all of that going on, and plus, just a ton of basketball.
We do need to mention defensive lineman Jordan Ferguson named
about him?
defensive MVP of the Hula Bowl,
which was played in Florida, not in Hula Land. So, but that's okay.
Jordan didn't mind since he had already been to Hawaii this year.
That's exactly right. He was okay not making that 10-hour flight over, but he answers the bell every opportunity he gets, and really, all week leading up to it, you would see tweets here and there from people who were on site, whether it's draft analysts or whatever, and it wasn't. There were so many of them who said, "Hey, keep hearing this name a lot, Jordan Ferguson from Middle Tennessee," and he backed up being the MVP of the Hawaii Bowl with the defensive MVP of the Hula Bowl. How does that translate into what on draft day? But he's obviously got a name and has built a reputation for himself out there, and he's got a lot of guys that have come from this program that have good reputations, like Reed Blankenship most recently. Richie James is playing terrific. Rob Jones, he was starting for the Dolphins here recently. Chandler Brewer for the Rams. All those guys, and of course Kevin Byard and what he has done. It's those guys who have left a legacy in the NFL, all coming from this program, that when the next guy comes up, which is now Jordan Ferguson, chances are, a program may look, or an NFL team may look at him and another person at another program, and all of a sudden they say, I'm going to give him a chance because they keep producing high character guys that are succeeding in this league. So, he obviously needs to congratulate himself, but also to thank those that have come before him, and he would be the first to do that.
You mentioned Reed Blankenship and Richie James with the Eagles and the Giants, both of whom are still playing. So, any other Blue Raiders still alive in the postseason at this point that you can think of? I'm thinking that might be it.
We had 5 going in, and but I think that's who's left.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Also want to mention, while we've got Chip on, Chip, you can coach me through this one.
Okay.
Alaba Akintola.
I think Alaba Akintola.
Alaba Akintola.
Yeah, Alaba Akintola, and Blue Raiders. He set the new school record in the 60-meter dash, and he and his compatriots had a good opening weekend at the Vanderbilt Invitational.
Yeah, he won both the 60 and the 200 at the Commodore Challenge this weekend. Ran a 6:59.60, top 5 in the nation, and leads Conference USA, and erased an MTSU record previously set by Franklin native Marty Scales, currently coaching down at Kennesaw State now after a lengthy stint over at Cumberland. So
Marty may look young, but that record has been there for a while.
20 years. But Akintola was named Conference USA Track and Field Athlete of the Week just a bit ago, I think, according to this release. So big weekend for him. Middle returns to Vanderbilt this weekend for the Vanderbilt Invitational. Last week was the Commodore Challenge.
Oh, that was my bad. Yeah, there on that. So
it's I think it's probably an easy mistake to make.
Yeah, and also as we house clean a little bit, last Friday afternoon, men's tennis, which is ranked in the top 25, opened the season at the Adams Tennis Complex in Murfreesboro, which is the indoor complex. The new outdoor complex is under construction, but beat up on Michigan State 6-1. Sparty won the doubles point, but then Middle won 6 straight singles matches and sent them back home. So the Spartans, not big fans of facing the Blue Raiders
in anything.
They're just gonna. Middle Tennessee State. No, we don't.
No, thank you.
We had enough of that, so
we're good. We're good. Thank you, though.
But I mean, Jimmy Borndale, it is a. Y'all need to, if you're over and can check it out one day, if they have a home match. I mean, it is a party atmosphere at the Adams Tennis Complex, which is a terrific layout. You got 4 courts on one side, 4 on the other, and an elevated fan area. I mean, they have beverages for sale, and also there's always giveaways and some food and stuff like that, and it's a really high. It is.
I spent a lot of time there in May.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've been there. We've been there, just not for an MTSU match necessarily. So we may have to do that. You had me at beverages. So
yeah, there you go. You've been known to migrate to the parts of whatever athletic facility have the beverages.
Shh.
There's photographic evidence.
There is. You're right. You're right. This is.
By the way, congratulations to you on being inducted into the Franklin High School Hall of Fame. Very well deserved.
I'm not sure
from a Columbia Lion, so
I'm not sure about that, but I will take the induction and the well wishes on your part. Again, as I explained the other night, zero athletic ability, but I think the members of the athletic community is kind of where I fit into the mix there. That was one of the demographics of the Hall of Fame inductees. So it was nice, and I appreciate that, Chip. Thanks for saying that. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Chip, as always, we appreciate your time, man. We'll talk to you next Tuesday. Hopefully.
That's right. And I may be groggy after coming back from Ruston, Louisiana, but I tell you that, if you get a chance, folks, just kind of keep an eye on this Conference USA race. It's really, last night was a huge shift. You had 5 games on the men's side, 4 road teams won. Middle was the only home team to get a win, and it took overtime to get that. But FAU is now 17-1. They're ranked in the top 25. It's a bar fight every night in the league, and that won't let up on Thursday when Charlotte comes to town.
There you go. We'll see you then.
Adios, Kazoots.
We move now to our top 5. It is Top 5 Tuesday, presented by Mid-South 5 Fitness. We've got two great locations, one in Columbia, one in Franklin. Thales Steel and the fine folks at steelathletes.com, STEEL athletes at Steel Athletes as well. Today's topic is athletes we would have liked to have seen injury-free. Injury-free athletes. So we start with the top pick going to Justin Kulik, who tanked for this week apparently.
I went for the draft pick there. My number one
is Justin. Mo will be second, and I'll be third. Go for it, Justin.
All right, so my number one is going to be Bo Jackson.
Well, of course.
Just because I knew that would be probably a hot commodity for everybody else, I wanted to steal it away. Bo Jackson, he ended his career because of his injury.
And I think that draft pick is probably going to win Justin the draft, regardless of what does behind it. So who's number two?
You.
I'm number two. Freaking Penny Hard.
I got Tiger Woods.
Ooh.
Okay.
So I got a shot.
You do have a shot. You do have a shot. All right, Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway. Nice pick. I'm gonna go Michael Thomas.
Hardaway. You're
number two.
My number two is Michael Thomas.
Wow.
Okay.
For the wide receiver from the Saints.
Yes.
Yeah,
his career's not technically over right now, but it basically is.
It's my turn. My number two is Ken Griffey Jr.
Got me. Yeah. Well, since you took my number two out of my tongue, I'm going to go with Peyton Manning. If his neck doesn't get injured,
that's not a bad pick. Okay.
I don't know that he ends up in Denver if his neck doesn't get injured, but I wish he hadn't gotten injured. That's
sure.
What we'll say. Anyway, continue.
Justin, number three.
I got you. My number three is Andrew Luck. Had to retire because of his injuries.
I was going to go Andrew Luck later. If you're a Titans fan,
I know it's tough.
Hate that he had to retire, but you hate that it was due to injury.
And he's such a good guy, it seems like.
So it's me.
It's you.
Yeah, it is. I never thought I'd be going so heavy basketball, but Tracy McGrady.
Oh, that's a
good one. Other one, Grant Hill.
Nice.
Not bad. I had him on my list. Justin, number four.
This one might not be a fan favorite for Twitter, but Jake Locker, man, I think that he could have been something special if he didn't get hurt every single game that he played.
It's possible.
I guess it's.
I'm going to go way back. I'm going Gale Sayers.
Nice.
That's a good pick. Because I thought about going Earl Campbell. I think I will.
Okay.
Those running backs though in that era got hurt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They got hit. They ran the ball like 90%.
Round 5?
It is.
My round 5
Yeah.
is, I think, a sleeper. Devontae Smith, from the running back for the Falcons. I don't know if y'all remember the dominant year he had. I believe it was the one where they went to the Super Bowl. At his prime, he was awesome, and then he got hurt and then just fell off.
My number 5, and I've got a few options, but I'm going to go with the other half, I guess, of the Ernie and Bernie show, Bernard King. And again, I never would have thought I'd go so heavy basketball, but there it is.
I'm going to go basketball too here. Mr. Irrelevant, Greg Oden.
Had him on the list.
Because you just don't know. I mean, the guy might have been one of the greatest big men of all time, but we just don't know what he had.
Right.
I mean, and if we're really, think about how good of a career Derrick Rose could have.
Derrick Rose,
his knee injuries.
That's a good take. That would have been such a good pick, Derrick Rose.
But
Sitting on my list, by the way, for what it's worth, is Sidney Crosby,
Yep.
Dante Culpepper, Sterling Sharp, and Roy Campanella.
yeah, I almost went Sterling Sharp because I thought, man, he played what, like 7 seasons and led the league 3 times in receiving. I mean, he was a great one. So
I was going to
there
say,
you go.
too,
That's your top
Steve
5
McNair.
draft. We'll get a poll up. What's
Yeah,
that?
sorry. I was just going to say Steve McNair just because he played every single game hurt, but I know we were going with kind of people.
That's
no doubt. But we'll be
reasonable.
back tomorrow at 2:00 on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. See you then.